And we're going to start by just taking child's pose. So whenever you're ready to do so, bring yourselves down to your hands and your knees. Place your knees about as wide as your yoga mat, with your big toes coming to touch behind you. The arms are stretched out long in front, palms facing down. Forehead is resting on the mat, hips are reaching back towards your heels. So no matter what kind of day you had previous to now, whether it was a good day, a bad day, or something in between, let's see if we can set it down for the next 60 minutes or so. And just concern ourselves with breathing deeply, moving our bodies to the rhythm of our breath, and using that focus and that attention to our bodies and our breathing to allow our minds to be present. So if you do notice at any point during today's practice that your mind is beginning to drift or wander, see if you can bring the focus back to your deep breathing and notice how that snaps your mind back to the present moment. So let's take about 3 or 4 rounds of breath here to deepen and to lengthen the inhales and the exhales. And while you're doing that, maybe give yourself a quick body scan. So checking everything out from the tips of the fingers to the soles of the feet. And just making note of what's feeling good today. Maybe there are some places that are feeling less than optimal, and if that's the case, that's all right. Maybe just make a note of those areas so that you can maybe modify or skip some poses that may cause you some distress today. But as long as you're listening to your body and allowing your body to send you feedback, you'll always be okay, because your body's always letting you know when things are not where they should be. And it's just up to our minds, it's up to our egos to allow ourselves to take those recommendations from our bodies and act upon them. And so from here, as you take your next inhale, begin to rise up to a tabletop position. Place your hands beneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips with a neutral spine. Now on your inhale, we'll be moving to a cow pose. So bring your gaze up, your chest up. Sitting bones are up, belly hangs low like a hammock. And slowly on your exhale, move to a cat pose. Round your back to the ceiling, pull your navel towards your spine, bring your gaze down to your knees. And now with the breath, we'll begin to flow between those 2 poses. Your next inhale brings you back to cow. Exhale, cats. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cats. Let's do 2 more cycles. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Last time through, inhale, cow. Exhale, cats. We'll bring it back to our tabletop pose with a neutral spine. Now with both palms remaining on the ground, see if you can step your left foot back onto the ball of your left foot and lightly extend your left heel towards the back wall just to lengthen out the left calf group of muscles. Nothing too intense, nothing too deep, just a simple warm-up. And notice you can get a little bit of a stretch in the fascia of the feet as well, which is kind of a nice area to stretch before yoga practice. Now with both palms still remaining upon the mat, on the inhale, activate your left glute, lift your left leg up off the ground so that the heel is about the same height as your hip. When you feel balanced and steady, join in with the right arm. Reach the right arm forward to the front of the space. Your thumb is facing up. And see if you can notice that core activation. Pull your navel towards your spine. Also keep the spine lengthened as well. Crown of the head is reaching out the front of the room. Now from here, we're going to move into a brief, awkward airplane. So draw your right arm towards the right side of the room And bring your left leg as far left and as far forward as you can. And for some, it may not be far, and that's okay. But see if you can just stay here and breathe, keeping the core strong, keeping the spine long. Now on your next inhale, extend the arm and leg long from front to back. On your exhale, set the right hand and left knee back upon the mat, tabletop pose. Take it through a round of cow and cat on your own, nice and easy, with your breath. We'll all meet back in our tabletop pose with the neutral spine. Now, while keeping both palms on the ground, step your right foot behind you onto the ball of the right foot, reaching the right heel to the back of the space, lengthening out the right calf group of muscles. Begin to activate your right glute. Lift the right leg up off the ground. Heel is hip height. Joining in with the left arm when you're ready to do so. Reaching it forward. Thumb is up. Staying here for a moment or so. Feeling the core strength developing. And we'll take it to an awkward airplane from here. Left arm to the left. Right leg is being drawn like you're delivering a roundhouse kick with the right foot. So pointing the toes forward, keeping the leg high, bringing the leg forward as well. Now on your inhale, extend the arm and leg long from front to back. On the exhale, hand and knee return to the mat, tabletop pose. Cycling through a final round of cow and cat, again on your own and again with your breath. And we'll briefly meet back in tabletop pose. And from here, we'll move into our first downward dog of today's practice. So plant your palms and tuck your toes. Reach your hips back. Taking some time to maybe pedal out the heels. Maybe stretch the calves a little bit more if they need it. But mostly moving into your own version of this down dog. So plugging into your palms, activating the core and quadriceps if they're not already. But keep the breath deep, and if you can, relax your head and your neck. No need to keep them active or engaged. Let them be loose. Now, from this first downward facing dog, begin to walk your hands back towards your feet, where we'll take a ragdoll pose at the back of the yoga mat. So once you're here, keep the feet nice and wide. Upper body's hanging loose. You're folded at the hips. And let your knees bend. Let them bend as deeply as they need to. Hands can grasp the opposite biceps. And for me, this early in the class, it's really about being passive here. Feeling the force of gravity draw you towards the earth. Really offering up little or no resistance if you can. But knowing you can bend your knees as deep as you need to. Maybe loosening up the head and the neck, nodding yes, shaking no. Now slowly release your hands down to the ground. Begin to toe heel your feet together. Now on an inhale, come to a halfway lift. So imagine being a swimmer on a starting block. And on your exhale, come back to forward fold. We'll do that again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold once again. And this inhale brings you all the way to mountain pose. Stack one vertebrae on top of the next. Once your torso's vertical, bring both arms up above. Biceps are either side of your ears. And on your exhale, place your hands together at your heart, standing at attention. We'll pause here for 3 deep breaths. Feel free to close your eyes, but continue to stand up straight and tall. Feel the feet rooted into the mat while you lift the crown of your head gently towards the ceiling. And on your next exhale, eyes can open, arms drop down to your sides. We'll inhale both arms back overhead, mountain pose. On the exhale, swan diving all the way down to a forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. And on the exhale, set your palms on the mat and walk your hands forward as you come into high plank pose. And we'll pause here at the top of a push-up. As a matter of fact, for strength, I'd like to do a couple of yogi push-ups. So if you need to, you can set your knees on the ground for more support. Otherwise, as you exhale, bend the elbows 90 degrees, come halfway down, pause there. Inhale, press back up. Let's do one more. On the exhale, come halfway down, hold for a moment. Inhale, press back up. And on this exhale, come all the way down to the ground. Once you're there, keep your chin on the mat, hands beneath shoulders, but untuck the toes. We'll be taking a couple of baby cobras. On the inhale, hands stay on the ground, but lift your head, shoulders, and chest off the mat and stay up for a breath or two. On the exhale, set yourself back down. We'll do one more of these baby cobras. When you're ready, on the inhale, lift head, shoulders, chest. Palms stay grounded for support. Stay elevated for one more inhale. Exhale, set it down. Nice job. I'd like to take a couple of baby locust poses from here. So the chin remains on the ground, but let your arms go long at your sides, palms on the mat. And let's just worry about the upper body here. On the inhale, baby locust, lift head, shoulders, chest. If it's available to you, you can lift and float the arms as well. And on your next exhale, release it down. Let's do one more of these. On the inhale, baby locust, lift head, shoulders, chest. Once again, if available, lift the arms. Legs can remain on the ground. Give it one more inhale if you can. On the exhale, set it down. And let's finish up here with a Sphinx pose, a real gentle one. So place your palms and forearms on the ground. Elbows are beneath the shoulders. On your inhale, press into the forearms and lift your head, shoulders, and chest off the ground. Keep your hips on the mat, however. We're not looking for anything too intense or deep. We just want to get a little bit of movement through that lumbar spine. And just know what I like about this pose is that it's fully supported by your arms. So we're not leaving anything out in the open to be exposed. You control the depth and the nature of the pose. Now, before we release back to the mat, try to keep your spine long as you come down. So on the exhale, not only are we coming to the mat, but also pull the torso forward with your forearms. Beautiful. Once you're down on the ground, place your hands beneath your shoulders. Press yourself to a tabletop pose. And let's go through a final cycle of cow and cat here. Rinse out that entire spine strengthening, prone back bending sequence. And as you complete that cycle, we'll meet in a downward facing dog. And from downward dog, we're going to get into our first flow of today's practice, our sun salutation A. And we'll be moving through it one breath per movement, moving at the speed of your own breath. So on your next exhale, step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale to upward dog or take your transition of choice. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll pause here for one inhale. On your exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, down dog. Take an inhale here. With your exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, down dog. Take an inhale here. With the exhale, step or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose one more time. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, down dog. Pause here to inhale. With the exhale, step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Now from mountain pose on your exhale, start to move into chair pose. So you're starting to bend the knees, reach your hips towards the back of the room. Arms are either up above, palms facing each other, or to save your shoulders, you can place your hands together at your heart. Let's see if we can take 2 deep breaths here in this first chair pose. Make sure your core is strong. Make sure your breath is still moving and going in and out deeply. Take one more inhale where you are. On the exhale, forward fold. Nice work. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, downward facing dog. On your inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, step between your hands. Inhale to warrior one. So we're coming into this warrior one and just noticing this is the first time we've gone into our hips really at all today. So give yourself an opportunity to settle into the pose, maybe modify the pose. For me, sometimes with my hips being tight, placing my feet a little wider on the mat can generally feel a little more forgiving to the hips. And finally, square the shoulders to the front, knowing the hips can be off center to the left if needed. Now, while you stay with warrior one legs, on your exhale, airplane your arms. So draw your torso forward, sweep your arms back. And what's nice about this pose is if you want to strengthen your core, you can hover your belly above the thigh. But if you're looking for a little more, little less intensity rather, you can rest the torso upon the right thigh. Give the shoulder blades a little squeeze together. Now from here, on a big inhale and a big movement, we're going to open up to a warrior two. So inhale, come up to standing. Open the hips and torso to the left side of the space. Extend your arms long from front to back. Notice we're going into the hips even deeper here. So for some of us, it might feel good to bring a little movement. Maybe it's straightening and bending the front knee a little bit. But allow yourself requisite time to find the pose you're looking for. Once you're there, on your exhale, extended side angle. Right forearm can rest upon the right thigh. Bring your left arm up and over. Left fingertips are extending away from the back edge of your left foot, which is firmly rooted into your mat. On your inhale, move to reverse warrior. Reach the right arm up and back. Keeping a nice bend in the front knee if possible. Keeping hips and torso as square to the left side of the room as you can. And on the exhale, cartwheel your hands top of the mat. Right foot steps back, high plank. Low plank, inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, downward facing dog. On your inhale, lifting the left leg up. Exhale, step between your hands. Inhale, warrior one on the left side. Just come on up to your warrior one. And if you can today, really let your body feel the pose. So much of this practice is based upon a sense of feel, a sense of intuition. If something feels good, stay with it, maybe take it deeper. Conversely, if it's not, feel free to modify or skip. Now on your exhale, moving to airplane arms, draw the torso forward, bring the arms back. Feeling the shoulder blades squeeze together. Noticing how just a slight activation of the triceps can lighten the arms. And on a big inhale, open it up, warrior two. Big movement, big opening, big breath. Give yourself time to settle into this pose. And for me, a big part of warrior two is just finding balance, finding stability. Bringing your gaze over the top of the left middle fingernail, perhaps, helping your mind settle in and find the pose as well. Now on your exhale, moving to extended side angle, left forearm, left thigh. Bring the right arm up and over. And if you choose, you can be light with your left forearm, mainly using the core to hold the torso in place. And on the next inhale, reverse warrior, reach it up, reach it back. What we're doing here is trying to create some space between the left fingertips and the left kneecap. How much space is all determined by you. And finally, on the exhale, cascade your hands, top of the mat, left foot stepping back, high plank. Low plank, inhale, up dog, or your transition. Exhale, downward facing dog. So that'll be our second flow today. That'll be our sun salutation B. And we'll be moving through it one breath per movement, as always, moving at your pace. So on your next exhale, step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, chair pose. Remain in chair for the inhale. On the exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, down dog. Inhale your right leg. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, down dog. Inhale your left leg. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, down dog one more time. Inhale the right leg. Exhale, send it forward. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, down dog. Inhale the left leg. Exhale, step it through. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale to down dog. Let's pause here and let's grab 3 deep breaths while maintaining the pose. Couple more breaths left. And know that at this point or at any point in class, if you feel the need, any exhale can be done as an open mouth sigh. Sometimes that's a nice way to just let it out. It's even a nice way to cool the body from the inside out if you're needing that. So from this downward facing dog, on your next inhale, lift your right leg high. And on your exhale, step between your hands for a low lunge, and we'll take a twist from here. The left palm will remain upon the ground and start to reach your right arm up to the ceiling. And again, there's no hard or fast rule about how deep the twist has to be. Let your body intuitively decide how far, how deep to take it. Now on your exhale, set the right hand back upon the ground. On your inhale, rise up to a crescent lunge. So come up to standing. Once your torso is vertical, both arms can extend overhead as well. And just try to feel balanced here, more than anything else. If you need to, you can widen your feet so they're more like on railroad tracks rather than on a tightrope. And if need be, you can always set your back knee on the ground too. That's a great way to get the full benefit of the pose, but also to provide yourself with some needed support. Now from crescent lunge, on your exhale, let's take a tall twist to the right. So briefly start to draw your right arm back. Bring your left arm forward. Upper part of the torso is rotating to the right side of the room. But pay attention to your breathing and your balance. We don't want to disrupt either of those for the sake of the twist. Now on your inhale, bring it back to crescent lunge. On your exhale, open up to a warrior 2. Try to find warrior 2 briefly. We'll be moving to a side angle pose from here. So reach the right fingertips forward, then release the right hand inside the right foot on your yoga mat and rotate your left arm up to the ceiling. So we're stacking the left shoulder on top of the right here. And just give it a couple of breaths. Now on your exhale, left hand comes to the mat. Step your right foot back into high plank pose. Either go through your flow or move directly into downward facing dog. Once you've arrived back in down dog, let's get into the other side. On the inhale, the left leg will lift. Exhale, step between your hands. Low lunge, take that twist. Right hand on the ground, left arm reaches up. On the exhale, set the left hand on the ground. On your inhale, rise up to standing. Just come into your crescent lunge, come into your variation, your modification if needed. We all are unique and special within our own bodies, so our poses are going to reflect that. All of our poses will be slightly different from each other's, and that's the way it should be. From crescent lunge, take a tall twist to the left. Draw the left arm back, bring the right arm forward. Just a gentle opening. We try not to operate in the extremes with our yoga practice, finding the middle path. On the inhale, bring it back to your crescent lunge. On your exhale, find warrior 2. Open the hips and torso to the right side of the room, pivoting the right toes in that direction as well. Moving into our side angle pose. When you're ready, reach the left fingertips forward. Release the left hand to the ground inside the left foot. and reach the right arm up above. Now on your exhale, set the right hand on the mat, step your left foot back into high plank pose. Either go through your flow or pressing directly into downward facing dog. Great work. Once you arrive in downward facing dog, on your next inhale, lift your right leg high. On the exhale, step between your hands, low lunge once again. This time, take your feet hip width apart so they're nice and wide. And we're moving into a power lunge. So keep the torso low. Draw the arms back. It's almost like airplane arms, but just having the feet in the crescent lunge position. So imagine your body is like an airplane that's just on the runway, just about to achieve liftoff. So the crown of your head is like the nose of the airplane. And when you're ready to do so, take flight. Launch onto the right foot. Arms are at your sides like wings. Sole of your left foot is reaching back. Crown of the head is extending forward. And we'll be moving into a standing splits from here. So release the hands to the ground in front of the right leg. And you can either fold over the right leg or just keep your torso parallel to the ground. And if you want more intensity, you can wrap both hands around the right calf so that you're balancing just on the right foot. Now with control, land the left foot directly next to the right into forward fold. Nice work. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale back to your fold. Inhale, mountain pose. And on your exhale, move to chair pose. Bend your knees, reach the hips back. When you're ready to do so, we'll be taking a prayer twist to the right. Place your hands at your heart. Begin to twist right. Make sure the core is activated. And either place the left elbow outside the right knee, or you can place the elbow between your knees for something a little bit gentler. We're just taking a couple breaths here. And on your exhale, forward fold. Nice work. Take your feet hip width apart. With a slight bend to your knees, slide your palms underneath the soles of your feet, hand under foot pose. And for me, this pose works best if I'm being passive, if I'm letting my knees bend a little bit, and if I'm just hanging loose. Other people like to have it be a little more intense by engaging the biceps and drawing themselves deeper into the fold. It's completely your choice what way to go. Slowly slide the palms out from underneath the feet. On your inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to the mat. Step your feet back to high plank pose. Either go through your flow or moving directly into downward facing dog. Once you arrive back in down dog, we'll move to the other side of the sequence, inhaling the left leg up. Exhale, step between your hands, low lunge, prepare for power lunge. Torso remains low, draw the arms back. Just stay here for a moment, pretending your body's an airplane ready to achieve liftoff. When you're ready, launch onto the left foot. Crown of the head is forward, sole of the right foot is back. Core is engaged and strong. All these balancing poses where our torsos are horizontal like this. Core strength is so important. Releasing to a standing splits from here, hands to the ground in front of the left foot. You can either fold over the left leg or stay parallel to the ground. And you're welcome to have a micro bend in the left knee here that may make things easier on your hamstring tendon. Hands can wrap around the left calf if you wish. On your exhale, right foot lands directly next to the left, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, return to fold. Inhale, rising to mountain pose. On the exhale, sink it into one more chair pose. Once you've arrived in your depth within chair, we'll start a prayer twist left. Hands to the heart. Core is activated. Twist it left. Right elbow outside left knee, or the elbow rests between the knees. Take a couple breaths here. On your exhale, forward fold. Again, take the feet hip width apart. This time with a slight bend to the knees, reach down and wrap up your big toes with your two peace fingers. And again, it's about hanging loose, being passive, or slightly more active with the bicep engagement to draw yourself deeper. And slowly release the big toes. On the inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to the mat. Step the feet back to high plank pose. Either go through your flow or press directly back into downward facing dog. Good work. Now we have one more standing sequence left. After this one, we're on the ground the rest of the way. Let's see if we can finish up strong here. On the inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, bring your knee towards your nose. Pause for a moment. Inhale the leg up. Exhale, knee to right tricep. Hold here. Inhale the leg high. Exhale, knee to left tricep. Optional push-up if you want it. Inhale the leg final time. And on your exhale, step between your hands. Rise up to a warrior two. We've all been in this warrior two before. When you're ready to do so, prepare yourself for triangle pose. Begin to straighten the right leg. Hips are reaching back gently. Upper body and right fingertips are reaching forward. Then allow the right hand to drop to either the shin or perhaps as high up as the thigh. While you extend your left arm up above, imagine it's being stacked above the right shoulder. On the inhale, rise back up to standing. Now pivot your right toes to the left side of the room. Place your hands upon your hips. Prasarita pose. On the inhale, chest lifts up slightly. On the exhale, the spine is long as you fold at your hips. Hands release to the ground once you get close. Just take about 3 or 4 breaths here. And if they're not there already, bring the hands back to the ground. Start to pivot your toes forward to the front of the room. Walk your hands to the top of the mat. Step your left foot back into high plank pose. Pause here for just a moment. Let's see if we can move into a side plank on the right. So right hand comes to the center of the mat, roll to the side of the right foot. Left foot stacks on top of the right, and lift the left arm up to the ceiling. There's a lot of options in side plank. You can set the right knee on the ground for more support. If you have any wrist trouble, you can take a side forearm plank so that you're distributing more of your weight. Give it one more inhale. And on the exhale, left hand finds the mat. Either go through your flow or press directly back into downward facing dog. And we've gotten to the final side of this last of our standing sequences, finishing up strong. On the inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose. Hold a moment. Inhale the leg high. Exhale, knee to left tricep. Pause here. Inhale the leg up. Exhale, knee right tricep. Once again, optional push-up. Inhale the leg final time. On the exhale, step between your hands, warrior two. Settling yourself into warrior two. Once you're there, triangle pose of weights. Left leg will straighten, hips reaching back. Left fingertips reach forward. Then allow them to drop to shin or thigh. Rotate the right arm up, stack it above the left. And if you're having trouble stacking the right shoulder on top of the left, a great way to fix that is just to bring your left hand a little higher up on your left leg. You'll notice by doing that, it allows you to open up a little more with the torso. On your inhale, rise back up to standing. Pivot the left toes to the side wall. Place your hands upon the hips once again. Prasarita pose. Inhale the chest up slightly. On the exhale, spine long, fold at the hips. So in this second Prasarita, you're really free to take any variation you want. If you're looking to rinse out the chest and the shoulders, you can bring your hands to the small of your back, interlace the fingers, and reach your clasped hands towards the ceiling. If you're looking to stretch the hamstrings and the inner thighs a little deeper, you can walk your hands behind you, feeling that stretch get a little bit more intense. You can also be passive and just breathe. We're always going with what our body is suggesting. And again, if your hands aren't there already, place them back upon the ground. Pivot your toes to the front of the room. Walk your hands to the top of the mat. Step your left foot back to high plank pose. Pause here. Take a side plank to the left. Left hand center of the mat. Roll to the side of the left foot. Bring your right arm up above. And as we discussed on the other side, take any variation that occurs to you. No need to be a yoga hero. We're only here for ourselves. Stay with it if you can. One more inhale. On the exhale, right hand comes to the mat, high plank pose. Pause here. To your count of 5, fast or slow, come all the way down to the ground. Great job. Once you're on the ground, give yourself a moment. Rest your left cheek upon the mat. Let your arms go long at your sides. Flip the palms face up. Take 2 deep breaths to do absolutely nothing. You've earned this mini break right here. And slowly we'll be moving into our spine strengthening series. We'll begin with a full locust pose. So bring your chin back to the mat. Let your arms go long at your sides. Flip your palms face down. And on your inhale, lift everything you can up off the ground. Start with the head, shoulders, and chest. Lifting and floating the arms. And finally, seeing if you can bring the legs up off the ground as well. Try to find 3 or perhaps even 4 rounds of breath here. These ground poses are so beneficial. These are the healing poses. If you're with me, stay here. One more inhale. On the exhale, release. Great work. Rest your right cheek on the mat this time. Keep your arms at your sides. Flip your palms face up. And again, 2 full cycles of breath while getting a little bit of rest. Our next prone back bend will be either another locust if you choose. Otherwise, bow pose is available if you want to go in that direction. For bow pose, chin comes to the mat, both knees bent. Reach back and capture the tops of your feet or your ankles with your hands. And on your inhale, lift the head, shoulders, chest off the ground. Now, if you're taking another locust pose, all we're doing is lifting everything we can up off the ground. Head, shoulders, chest, arms, and then finally legs. And we're here for 2 or 3 breaths, a little shorter here, but keep breathing by all means. And on the exhale, set it all back down. Great work. This time the left cheek is on the mat. Arms are at your sides, palms up. And let's help our lumbar spine release a little bit. Bend your knees and give the legs a windshield wiper. See if you notice your low back muscles releasing just a touch. Let the legs come back to the ground. Before we move off of our bellies, I'd like to get into just a little bit of a shoulder and pectoral opening pose. Spatula. Keep your left cheek still on the mat. Extend your left arm as far left as it will reach. Palm is on the ground. Right hand comes beneath your right shoulder. And with the left arm still reaching to the left, start to roll yourself towards your left side. And notice as you do so, there begins to be a lengthening sensation through the left pectoral group of muscles. And all you need to do is roll yourself until you feel a nice deep stretch, and then stay right there for about 2 or 3 breaths. And slowly roll back onto your belly, and we'll switch sides. Rest your right cheek upon the mat. Extend your right arm as far right as it will reach. Palm is on the ground. Left hand comes beneath the left shoulder. Then start to roll yourself towards your right side until you reach your required intensity for the pose. And this is one of my favorite poses to do after all the planks, the push-ups, the transitions, the chaturangas are complete. Kind of rewarding these muscle groups that were so instrumental in your ability to make it through the class. And we'll slowly release from here back onto our bellies. Place both hands beneath your shoulders. Slowly press back into child's pose. Spending a few moments here in child's pose. From child's pose, begin to move into downward facing dog. And this will be our final downward dog for today's practice. Maybe even just notice how this one feels in comparison to your first one. Hopefully your body's feeling a little more loose, perhaps even a little more relaxed. And from this final downward facing dog, on your exhale, step your way to the top of your yoga mat, all the way through onto your seat, and then make your way onto your back. I'd like to set up a couple of back bends here. We'll begin with a bridge pose. So arms are at your sides, palms on the ground. Both knees are bent with the heels behind the seat. If you can, tuck your shoulder blades a little closer together underneath you, and on your inhale, press into your feet evenly and lift your hips up off the ground. And see if you can maintain this bridge pose for about 4 more breaths. If you feel like you need some more upper body support, sometimes it can be beneficial to interlace your hands together underneath you, which will help to strengthen the shoulders and the triceps. And on a long exhale, slowly release all the way down to the mat. Once you're fully on the ground, give a slow windshield wiper of the knees from side to side. And let's bring it back for one more back bend. This one can be a choice between bridge pose, which I'll demo and also cue, And also wheel pose is available if you choose. If you're taking another round of bridge, arms at your sides, palms down, the knees are bent, heels behind the seat. On the inhale, press into the feet once again. Elevate the hips off the ground. Now, if you've chosen another bridge pose and you feel like you want to add a little more depth to it, maybe try lifting your heels off the ground, rising to either the balls of the feet or even the tiptoes, which will bring the hips just a little bit higher. Take a couple more breaths from here. And slowly begin to release all the way back to the ground. Once again, we'll windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And let's just meet up in a reclined butterfly pose. So gently bring the soles of feet together. Allow the knees to just open up. Let your hands rest wherever you'd like them to be. And if you can, allow your eyes to close. And take about 4 breaths here. And while you're here breathing, see if you can feel as though your body is just sinking into the floor. Notice the power that the pull of gravity has upon your body. And see if you can offer up little or no resistance to that power. Just allow yourself to sink. And slowly bring the knees back together. And once your feet are firmly back upon the ground with the knees bent, we'll be setting up our hip opening pose, which will be a supine pigeon. Beginning on the right ankle crosses over the left knee or thigh. Now you're welcome to remain here. This may be deep enough for you, and if it is, stay here. Otherwise, to add more depth, you can gather the hands behind the left thigh, and with the left foot lifting off the mat, you can draw the left leg in towards you until you reach your desired depth within the pose. But if you can, try to avoid any tension or discomfort in the right knee. If you are feeling anything there, first try to flex the right foot. So draw the toes towards the right shin. If that doesn't alleviate any discomfort, ease up on the pose until it's gone. This pose isn't meant to disrupt the right knee. Let's find a couple more breaths if you're still here with me. And slowly release the left foot back upon the mat. Uncross your right ankle, set the right foot down, and we'll switch over to the other side. Left ankle crosses right knee or thigh. As before, you can stay here, or for more, hands wrap behind the right thigh and incrementally bring it in towards you. And it's about 6 breaths here. 6 deep, steady, and mindful breaths. Sometimes when I'm in a pose for a little bit longer hold, I actually count the seconds of my inhales and exhales. That allows my mind to really stay within the moment and not wander. 2 more breaths are left. And slowly set the right foot back on the mat. Uncross your left ankle, set your left foot down. We're going to take a brief happy baby pose. So with the knees bent to the soles of your feet facing the ceiling, reach up and either capture the bottoms of the feet or perhaps just wrap the peace fingers around the big toes. And Happy Baby is a pretty individualistic pose. You can really take whatever variation you want. Some people like to be absolutely still. Some people like to bring movement, perhaps by rocking. Maybe it's bending one knee deeper and extending the opposite, switching sides. Really, it's just a personal preference, where you want to be, where you want it to go. Now release the feet or big toes. Draw the knees into your chest. Before we rest, I'd like to finish with a supine twist. Let your arms drop to the sides like a capital T, and slowly drop your knees and hips to the right. You can allow your gaze to remain directly at the ceiling to keep your neck neutral. Or if it agrees with your neck, you can look gently off to the left. And slowly the knees come back to the center. And then drop the knees and hips to the left, looking either up or slightly to the right. And finally, the knees come back to the center. Draw them into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. Momentarily give yourself a little squeeze. Take a final inhale right here. On the exhale, letting go of everything. Legs release long in front. Arms come to rest at your sides, palms facing up. Letting the entirety of tonight's practice wash over you. Entering final resting pose, Shavasana. And slowly begin to awaken. Starting to move your fingertips and your toes. Nice and easy, start to reach both arms towards the back of the space. Start to bend your knees, drawing the heels close behind your seat. And take your time as you move onto your right side. Just here very briefly. And once you do feel complete, eyes can remain closed, rising up to a comfortable and cross-legged seat with the palms together at your heart. And we'll end our practice tonight by sending gratitude to ourselves and also to our fellow practitioners. Bowing forward. Namaste.